Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome to Smart Choice Football. And our episode here is called The Draft Process. The draft process is where we talk about the NFL draft and everything that's basically leading up to the draft in April. We go over draft prospects, mock drafts, breakdowns, anything you want to know. And what's going on, Jerry?
We're looking at the draft today, so I've been looking at a lot of college football here lately.
Yeah, season's over. Now it's time to actually put in some work of the next gen talent.
Yeah, this is exciting because now we get to take a chance to look at a whole new set of players coming into the league.
Yeah, this is no doubt my favorite part. I love scouting. I love looking at the draft.
Yeah, it's a whole different part of the year. There's a lot of people that just watch NFL football and they have no idea who these guys are, and we're here to let you know who they are.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a guy who's a left tackle from Texas Tech University and you want to know who he is, we will tell you who he is. And we'll basically tell you everything you need to know. 'Cause I've been probably looking at guys since November, probably. That's typically when I start doing my research on all these players. But, it's just a fun time because any team could get the next Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Nick Bosa, that one player who could just change a franchise.
Yeah, or not change a franchise.
Yeah, or
case
you have
of Mitch Trubisky. As funny as that is, we're on the same page there as you can see. Yeah, trading up to pick 2 to get a guy when there were 2 other quarterbacks that we both know.
John Lynch
within 10 or so picks after that. So
yeah, and that was a rookie GM at the time, and John Lynch, who fooled Ryan Pace.
Yeah, he fooled Ryan Pace into thinking that there were actually suitors for pick 2.
They were not taking Mitch at number 2. There was no way. It didn't really matter for the Niners because the Niners still took Solomon Thomas anyway, so it was kind of a bust pick. But they landed Nick Bosa. They're in the Super Bowl now, so I'm not going to fault them for what they did.
Yeah.
So this episode's basically we're going to be breaking down our favorite draft prospects that are coming into the draft. On this past Saturday, the Senior Bowl happened. Justin Herbert won the Senior Bowl MVP. He had 83 yards and a passing touchdown. So he's looking like a solid top 10 pick. It looks like he pretty much locked up his status. And
yeah, and I see a lot of mock drafts of him going to the Chargers, and I kind of can see that pick coming to fruition.
Yeah, it seems like that's the most logical pick for the most logical landing spot for Justin Herbert, just because, they could even bring back Phillip Rivers back for one season, and then they could just have him sit behind Rivers just for one more year just to kind of learn, because,
Yeah, I think that would definitely be better for his career if he didn't jump in and play his rookie year with the Chargers team coming off a 2019 season that was very disappointing.
Yeah, and I think that's the best option for any rookie quarterback to go into, considering that you have Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, you have Hunter Henry, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. There's weapons compared to
you got to remember too,
the Dolphins.
When you're talking about the Chargers, they got a lot of free agents. Hunter Henry isn't signed yet for 2020.
Yeah, I know.
Melvin Gordon may or may not come back. So
I don't think
there's a lot of question marks there.
There's no way that they're gonna let Eckler and Melvin Gordon walk.
They have Eckler for one more year.
Do they have him for one more year? I wasn't sure if he was under contract or not, because I remember I think I saw it in Madden. That's obviously not a reliable source, but I just remember recently. So I'm trying to think from the top of my head if he was a free agent. I would have to double check that, but either way, you're still going to have some type of talent. As long as you got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams there, you're going to have talent to throw to. And there's not many rookie quarterbacks, besides, I guess, Mahomes going to the Chiefs maybe, where you have that much elite talent around you.
Exactly.
So, talk about some of your favorite draft prospects.
Yeah, so I think number 1, I'm just going to jump right in, is DeAndre Swift. I think that's
from Georgia.
Probably my favorite running back in this class, and this is a class that's pretty deep at running back. Swift comes in at 5'9", 215, and he's a bulldog back. He's a guy who's got a burst of speed, and he looks for contact. He goes and he dives in head first, looking to hit guys rather than be hit. And I think that kind of talent's really going to translate to the NFL as long as he can stay healthy.
What team do you think is the best fit for him coming into the league?
I mean, coming into the league, obviously, I think there's a good chance that he goes to the Miami Dolphins. Looking at their running situation
at 18 or 26.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense, but I think a better situation for him would be if he went to a team, if he was able to fall a little bit and go to a team that maybe like the Texans, like Houston, if Houston were to trade up.
Yeah. There's no way they have the ammunition.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I mean, but Houston's got a lot of needs offensively.
Yeah, they do.
On the line, running backs. Yeah, I mean, I like DeAndre Swift a lot. I think there could possibly be a lot of 3 running backs potentially in the first round. I wouldn't be shocked if any of the 3 of DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, or Jonathan Taylor, if all 3 of those backs either found a way to get into the first round, or if any of those 3 in a non-specific order were the first running back taken.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And I mean, I know those are my 3 favorite running backs in this class, as they are most people's. And I would say Swift is my favorite of the 3.
Yeah, I really like Swift. I would like to see him probably just from a scheme fit, where I think he's a perfect scheme fit. I would love to see him fall to Kansas City. I would really like to see Kansas City finally figure out that
if
running
DeAndre
back.
Swift went to Kansas City, he would be a top 10
it's possible.
fantasy running back next year.
Yeah, there's a very good chance he could fall to Kansas City.
He is the most, out of those 3 guys, he is the most legit 3-down back.
Yeah. J.K. Dobbins, some executives think, Dobbins could be a 3-down back at an NFL level, but I don't see that. Swift has
to be honest with you, I think that Jonathan Taylor has a better chance of being a 3-down back than J.K. Dobbins.
But Taylor's body took a beating at Wisconsin.
It did. I mean, I believe he had over 800 carries in 3 years.
Yeah, I know he ended up with around 5,000 yards. So they used him.
He has a lot of miles on his back, but
he is.
He's also shown that he can do it.
Yeah, he has, but I think I could see him slipping in the draft based off his 40 time. His 40 time is going to be huge at the combine.
Oh, it is.
Because they're expecting him to run like a 4.7 flat, and the difference of a 4.7 and 4.4 is so small, but it could kill you by a round.
Of course, and you got to remember, we are talking about this early. We don't have combine numbers yet, so
combine's not till next month anyway. So
I mean, so we got a while to wait. So this is digging in early, but obviously the combine will affect things. So who's the first guy you want to talk about?
The first guy I want to talk about is a name that everyone should become familiar with. I think he's the best overall player in the draft, where he's kind of one of those players that he's like he's a can't miss prospect. Like, you can't be faulted if you take him. Is Isaiah Simmons. He's a hybrid outside linebacker and safety. He played outside linebacker, middle linebacker, and he played both safety positions this season for Clemson. He had 104 tackles, 8 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 16.5 tackles for loss. In my recent mock draft that I did last night, actually, I have Isaiah Simmons going to the New York Giants, number 4 overall. Simmons, I expect him to run a 4.3-4.4. Reminds me a lot of Devin Bush, Miles Jack type of player, where he has the ability to play multiple positions, and he's just an athletic freak. And I think he's going to transform at an excellent at an NFL level, and I'm really excited to see where he goes, because I think I could see him. I don't see him falling out of the top 10. He's either going to go to the Giants at 4, Panthers at 7, or Jaguars at 9. Between those 3 teams, I think he's a fit for all of them, and Carolina might look to replace Luke Kuechly. So I think there's a really good chance that Isaiah Simmons could land there if they don't select Derek Brown, or if the Giants pass up on him, because I think that a lot of teams are just going to look in this draft and take best player available, even if it's not a need.
Yeah, it's a deep draft. This 2020 class is a deep class, and I think Simmons would be a great fit at all 3 of the teams you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he'd be a different piece in all 3 of those defenses. Carolina being the weakest, rebuilding, and really trying to retool their whole team at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville, their defense just really fell apart last year, so you can see why they could use a piece like that. And then I think that it's really his best fit, though, would be in New York. I think that with what they did last year to solidify their defense, at the end of the year, they really weren't playing that poorly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you even saw it in, week 17 against the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles were a playoff team, and they put up, 20 points, I think?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. I mean, this Giants defense is kind of a mess. The secondary is a mess. Last year with the Odell Beckham pick, they took a defensive tackle from Clemson. It wasn't Christian Wilkins. He went to the Dolphins. It was the other one. I forgot what. Man, wow, it's bad. I should know what it is from the top of my head. But they're just gonna start taking and plugging in guys, best guys available for the Giants. That's how Dave Gettleman's always been.
And I think at 4 in the draft, Simmons will probably be the best player available.
Yeah, I mean he's an athletic freak. The next guy I have on here is Jordan Love, quarterback from Utah State. Everyone's going to become very familiar with him. I don't think there's been a quarterback that has had to deal with as much crap that he had to deal with the past year, because his numbers fall off. He had 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in 2017, and this year he had 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, where you're like, how does that make you... Why is that improving his stock? Why is he even a first-round pick with those numbers? And the reason is because he lost his head coach, he lost his quarterback's coach and his coaching staff, he lost all 4 offensive linemen, and he lost his running back Thompson to the Chiefs in the draft. So he completely lost, and Utah State doesn't have as much talent as it is. So it's like you can't expect them to go into LSU this year and actually look competitive against that offense and defense. So I like Jordan Love. He has the mobility. He has a strong arm. He has everything that you look for in a franchise quarterback. He's a great improviser. My only complaints about him would be that what I've seen on film is that he's a one-read quarterback. If his first option isn't open, he kind of panics and tries to improvise, but that could easily be fixed by coaching at an NFL level. So some perfect team fits, I would say, are the Indianapolis Colts could be a spot at 13, New England at 23, Minnesota at 25. I think Minnesota should definitely try to take a chance on him. Jordan Love is probably the closest in the draft talent-wise to, say, like a Patrick Mahomes, where you look for that guy who could extend plays and make these ridiculous throws. Because, that's not Tua, that's not Herbert, that's not Eason, that's not Fromm, that's none of those guys. It's not even Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow, he's not going to run and throw a ball all the way across the field. So I really like Jordan Love from Utah State. I'd like to see him maybe sit behind a Tom Brady for a year, or a Kirk Cousins for a year, or even sit behind Brissett.
I definitely think a Jordan Love sitting behind a good veteran quarterback could help him out.
Yeah, he has to sit. He's not ready. He's
definitely not coming into the year ready to play. I mean, I could see him even going to New Orleans, sitting behind Breeze for a year.
Yeah, but who knows if Breeze even hangs it up? Because if Breeze hangs it up, I think there's no way they let Teddy Bridgewater walk, and I think he gets paid.
Yeah, I mean, I think Teddy Bridgewater is the starting quarterback next year.
Yeah, it's just a matter of fact for who. If it's New Orleans competing with Taysom Hill, or if he is going somewhere like a Chicago or a Chargers, even, for example. There's multiple options out there. Who else is on your mind for quarterback for prospects?
For prospects, I mean, I think we should take a minute just to talk about Joe Burrow. Because I think that for a guy who everybody knows he's going to be the number 1 pick, I think we got to take just a minute.
It's a lock. He's already looking at houses.
It's a lock. I mean, the guy completed more passes 10 yards down the field than anybody in college football.
Yeah, I think he was one of the most accurate. I think he completed like 76.3 or something.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is a stud. He's going to go into Cincinnati next year, and he's going to have Joe Mixon. He's going to have Tyler Boyd. He's got some decent weapons around him.
AJ Green should be back.
AJ Green may or may not be back. We don't know yet. But I like Joe Burrow in that offense. I don't think year 1 he comes into the league and does necessarily what some people are going to expect him to do. But I think he'll have maybe an Andy Dalton-esque season, where he's pretty similar to that. But I could see Joe Burrow being a staple in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't do anything necessarily flashy, but
his arm strength's not nearly elite.
But the thing is he does it all. He checks all the boxes. He just doesn't check any box elite. And I think that may be the difference maker of him ever becoming a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league. But I think he may be a top 10, top 15 for 10, 15 years. There's a potential for that.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo, I would say. Like, I could see him being that type of player at an NFL level. Well, what worries me about Joe Burrow coming into the league is that he's not going to have nearly the amount of talent offensively that he had at LSU.
Oh, yeah.
They had the best receiving core with Justin Jefferson, Thaddeus Moss at tight end. He's losing a lot of talent because, like, if you're going to the Bengals, you're dealing with Joe Mixon. You know, he's still good. He's still a good back. Hopefully AJ Green is back. You're gonna have Tyler Boyd. You have Jonah Williams at left tackle. So he's kind of just gonna be the start of the rebuild. Like, they're not gonna be competitive for at least 3 to 5 years, I would say, unless they just hit home runs and Mike Brown actually wants to spend some money as the owner.
Yeah, there's time before we can sit here and say what's going to happen there. I mean, there's a long off-season process, and we'll see what kind of moves they make. I mean, if they can solidify that offensive line, we've seen Joe Mixon beat top 5 talent.
Yeah, they just need a quarterback that could open up the field for Mixon because there's 8 men in the box against Joe Mixon every game.
Exactly.
He's doing the best he can. You know, Andy Dalton's not something special. Burrow, his arm strength isn't nearly at levels that we've seen in the past, like Josh Allen. You know, we've seen a Josh Allen with a strong arm, a Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Drew Lock, even, for example. You know, his arm's not there, but, you know, there's quarterbacks that have proven that you don't need to have a strong arm to be successful, as you've seen with Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, all these quarterbacks where you just need to thread the needle.
Yeah. And accuracy is always more important than arm strength.
It is, and it's a lot. I think a lot of it falls on offensive coaching. You know,
yeah, it definitely does, helping him make the right decisions.
Yeah, because what a lot of coaches,
and I think that's the one thing that Joe Burrow does have, is it doesn't necessarily go. His completion percentage doesn't all necessarily go to his arm, but it goes to the fact that he makes good decisions.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming from a pro-style offense at LSU, but a mistake that a lot of teams make is when they draft a quarterback, they try to just rush them and put them into their system and expect them to adapt, when what they need to do is you need to put players around him that make him better. So you can't just force him.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, if you look at successful quarterbacks in the league today,
you do what they're good at.
They're all quarterbacks who you get the system in place and then you get the quarterback.
Yeah.
You get the pieces. Like, that's what San Francisco did. San Francisco assembled their team. They assembled their defense, got their offensive line, had a good running scheme, and then they got Garoppolo. Garoppolo happened to tear his ACL, and it was a year behind schedule. Yep. But they still had what they needed, and then they got the quarterback. You got to give a quarterback weapons to be successful. You can't expect any You can't expect any quarterback in this league to win without weapons.
Another name that people are going to be hearing throughout the next several months is this man. He's rising into the top 10 to 12 now. Javon Kinlaw, South Carolina nose tackle. He had 35 tackles this season. He had 6 tackles for loss. He had 6 sacks, and he had 2 fumble recoveries. And he is, what I've been reading, there's a lot of reports saying that he could be as talented as Aaron Donald in like a year or so. Like, that first step he has, he could pass rush, and could just terrorize a quarterback up the middle. I've loved what I've seen off film from him. I expect him, honestly, to run a 4.8, 4.9. I mean, he's a very explosive defensive tackle. His first step is phenomenal, and I love him. He's on my list of guys that I would trade future picks to move up for as a D tackle. He's a game changer who could potentially be a phenomenal superstar in this league.
Yeah, I mean, watching his tape and then going back and watching Aaron Donald's tape coming out of college, I mean, they're very similar athletes. He definitely profiles in the same way, and to take the chance on a guy like that on your defensive line, it's definitely worth any.
Yeah, definitely reminds me a lot of Sheldon Richardson as well. You know, Richardson, he's never been known for a big.
Yeah, I mean, Richardson never really, I think, reaches full potential.
No,
definitely reminds you of Sheldon Richardson for sure.
Yeah, and another name that I think doesn't get enough respect is Tyler Johnson, wide receiver from Minnesota. Minnesota's offense completely broke out this year with Tyler Johnson and Rashad Bateman. P.J. Fleck finally got his 1-2 punch at the receiver. Tyler Johnson had 86 receptions for 1,318 yards and 13 touchdowns. And according to Pro Football Focus, he was ranked as the number 1 wide receiver this season overall, ahead of Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. The talent's there. It's just the name. He's not from those big schools.
Yeah.
So he's going to be available potentially in rounds 3 to 4. And if a team like, I would say, New England Patriots could snag him, the New Orleans Saints, Baltimore Ravens, these wide receiver needy teams, they're going to get the hardest working player in this draft. He's always working. And he was actually recruited to Minnesota as a quarterback his freshman season. He redshirted, and then Fleck went, and Fleck moved him to receiver, and Fleck was a wide receivers coach with the Niners years back, and he was drafted as a wide receiver as well. So he's excellent working with the receivers, and I expect Bateman in about a year or two. You'll hear some more names coming out of Minnesota.
Yeah, that's exciting to see. I mean, it's always good to see kids come out of schools that aren't traditional. So
yeah.
It's nice to see these smaller schools start to succeed and put some players in the NFL.
Yeah, let's just do one more prospect each.
Okay, yeah, sure. I just want to jump into Jerry Jeudy because I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be. I love Jerry Jeudy. I mean, just starting to watch his film. I mean, I think he reminds me I think a little bit because of the size of Antonio Brown, and the fact that he's elite at everything, but almost just his body.
Yeah.
If you know, I mean, it's as weird as that is to say, he just doesn't have elite size. But outside of that, I mean, he has elite speed. He has elite speed off the line. I mean, I can't see anybody matching up with him one-on-one. He's the kind of guy who can step up in the league and I think be a number 1 type of receiver by year 2.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama always has these amazing wide receivers that come out right away. They're always pro-ready. You have Amari Cooper and Julio Jones, who are come first name to mind. I mean, if Devonta Smith from Alabama would have came out this season, they would have had 3 first-round wide receiver picks. 3 from the same school in the first round. It is insane. Henry Ruggs is a name everyone's going to start hearing.
Henry Ruggs is another really exciting prospect.
Yeah, in my recent mock draft, I have Jerry Jeudy going to the Colts, actually, at 13. I think Brissett needs some more weapons. And I actually have them trading back in for Jordan Love at pick 32. So really? I think the Colts are going to be very active in the draft, considering that they have 2 second-round picks, and they have Washington second. So they have the 34th overall pick as well, which they could package to get back into the first, to get that 5th-year option.
Yeah, I think if they got Jerry Jeudy and Jordan Love, I think that would be very exciting.
So to go with T.Y. Hilton,
Paris Campbell, Paris Campbell,
Marlon Mack.
Yes, that is a very intriguing core right there.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, he's my number 1 wide receiver overall. I think he's the most complete. He's the most talented. But I have a feeling that a lot of teams are going to start to fall in love with CeeDee Lamb.
I agree. I see the same thing. Jerry Jeudy and me is number 1. I think people are trying to maybe dig in too deep just to see is there that CeeDee Lamb, which I know has been only rising as I continue.
Yeah, he's pulling out comparisons to DeAndre Hopkins, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's a big play guy. He's a guy who's going to outjump you for the ball. I love CeeDee Lamb. I love Jerry Jeudy. If I was a GM, I'm good with either of them. I could see Jeudy going even to the Raiders. I wouldn't even be shocked if I saw Jerry Jeudy go number 4 to the Giants. Find their Odell Beckham replacement right away.
I could easily see that pick, and to be honest with you, I think if the Giants don't do that, I think they're going to regret it. Because I think Jerry Jeudy's going to come out and be that good.
Yeah, I mean, you need to get Daniel Jones some weapons.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones needs elite weapons. I mean, he's got Saquon in the backfield.
You got Golden Tate.
Shepard, Ingram. Sterling Shepard, and Evan Ingram. But, I mean, none of those guys are top-tier guys. None of those guys are number 1s.
Yeah, like, there's a reason Golden Tate's already on his 3rd team, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Golden Tate is okay. Let's not get too excited there.
Yeah, another running back, I think, or another prospect I liked who is a running back, who's very underrated, I think, so far is Zach Moss, running back from Utah.
I love Zach Moss.
You love Zach Moss? I love me some Zach Moss.
Me some Zach Moss.
He averages about 6 yards per carry. He had 1,416 yards, and he had 15 rushing touchdowns. He was a big reason why Tyler Huntley, the quarterback, had a great year. He had 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and I think Zach Moss was a big reason why the offense was so explosive and made Utah a top 6 to 7 team in the country. And I love his film. I love his footwork. He's a big power back, which I really like.
Yeah.
Which you don't see that much anymore coming out as those top guys.
Yeah, no, you don't necessarily. And honestly, watching his film, I mean, he is an exciting runner to watch. He is the kind of guy who really is that true power back that you don't see in today's NFL.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably like the next like Derrick Henry type back, because I thought Derrick Henry was the end of those backs.
Yeah, I mean, he is that type of power back. The one downfall I would give is open field speed. He's not gonna be out there burning anybody, but
doesn't have to be.
You don't have to. I mean, I don't necessarily think he may not be ever be a 3-down back. He may only be a change of pace, first and second down type of guy, but there's nothing wrong with that. We've seen some very successful guys like that in the league today.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to come up with an NFL comparison for him, if the guy he molds his game after, I would say is reminds me a lot of Mark Ingram. Watching his tape reminds me a lot of Mark Ingram, because Mark Ingram has the ability to be a power back, but he also has that, throughout the game he's got the small little burst. Once he gets on the sideline, and then he's gone.
Yeah, I like that comparison a lot. Another one I would give almost he reminds me a little bit of Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb. I love me some Nick Chubb. Who doesn't love Nick Chubb?
Oh, yeah.
I think Georgia produces these great running backs.
They do.
You got Swift, Dalvin Cook's brother is there as well now. You have Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, Todd Gurley. So, yeah, Georgia's starting to become the new school for running backs.
It seems to be. They've definitely put out a lot of successful running backs here in the past.
Yeah, so that's going to conclude the draft process, first episode. Again, you are listening to Smart Choice Football. It is our website, and it will be up soon. And our Twitter page is at Smart Choice Football. So please follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I think that's going to wrap it up, Jerry.
Yeah, check us out, subscribe, like us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and we'll be out here giving you guys more content here soon.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Take care and have a nice week.